Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like the intro song took off a little early. It's a little trigger happy. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Robert DeLester, the host of Rob's Inner Circle here on YouTube's Bobby Short Shorts channel. Tonight I have a very interesting guest. We're going to have a great time. Mr. Domenic Di Rosa from Mafia Inc. He's standing by. He's going to be coming on in a few moments. But before we go meet Domenic, I have a couple of things I wanted to address. I wanted to thank the people who tuned in last Friday on our live broadcast on Facebook, where Patty Saragosa and myself hosted the Rob and Patty live show. And you people were numerous tuning in, and I thank you very much. On the show, we had Leah Gentile, Big Mama Siciliana. We had Claudio Capri, and we also had Peter Bone on the show. So we had a very, very good show, and you people tuned in, and we appreciate it. And tonight we have another great show, so you guys just hang in there. Behind the scenes, Robert DeLester Productions, there's a lot of stuff going on. We have some footage that we shot last year. We're putting together, we're shooting some footage right now that's going to be used later on. We're not ready to use that right away. So you guys stay tuned. You come onto the channel over here. Come onto the channel on Bobby's Short Shorts on YouTube. We invite you to come and watch our videos. You give us a like, you subscribe, and you share our videos. Okay. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have our interesting guest who's standing by. We're going to introduce him. He's from Mafia Inc., a movie that came out in February on Valentine's Day. And unfortunately, because of the COVID, what happened, things were interrupted, but we're going to have a chance to discuss the movie and much more. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Domenic Di Rosa. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Robert, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Okay, Domenic, okay, so I was saying in the introduction there that Mafia Inc. came out on Valentine's Day, and it was really picking up a lot of momentum. But unfortunately, what happened with this COVID and all that, there, you know, with the theaters being blocked off and all that, it's too bad because it's a show that really picked up a lot of momentum. So
within 4 weeks, it made over $1 million at the box office. I mean, beginning of March, and then we were very, very happy with that result. And we were seeing it growing and getting more momentum. And then the theater shut down. But now that things are starting to become more, a bit more regulated, in the sense positively wise, it's back in the theaters. Certain screenings, Guzos and Cineplex, and it's also playing in the drive-in theaters as well.
Okay.
But if people have already got it, it's on video on demand from Bell, Google, YouTube, iTunes, Videotron. You get it on demand, or you can buy the DVD on Amazon or Archambault. I mean, it's a great story. A good piece of Montreal history, a fictional story based on some true events. But I mean, it was well done. I mean, I was very, very proud to be part of that movie.
Okay, so it's a Quebec production. It's a French movie, like we were saying off air. It's French, but Italian and English as well in there.
Yeah, it's a French. I mean, it's a French production with the UDA, but it's there's mixed in. I mean, I find it brings the realism of Montreal and how people interchange between different languages. I mean, you'll have two Italian people talking, and I hear it myself in the street, and they'll mix French in there, and they'll speak Italian, and someone will walk by and they'll speak English. I mean, and that's how in the movie everybody was. Certain characters, I mean, not every single character, but certain characters, they would transition from English to French to Sicilian back to, or Italian back to English. So it was nice to see the smooth transition. I mean, there's a lot of subtitles, yes, but it still captures the essence of what I think Montreal sounds like in these communities.
So it's very multicultural, as you've been saying.
It is very multicultural, as we are a multicultural city. And that showcases it. Yeah,
it reflects us very well, like you just said. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it reflects it fantastically.
Which role did you play in the movie?
I played Donato Toto Russo in the movie. I was a lieutenant. My father in the film was played by Ralph Santostefano. He was the underboss to the Sergio Castellito, which is Frank Paterno. I ran a meat packing plant and all the illegal drugs and the gambling and everything ran. We would funnel it through the meatpacking plant.
Okay.
So Le Boucher, the butcher, and it was a good role. I mean, I really enjoyed doing that role because I found it was challenging to the fact is you have to play a nice guy, and I mean you also have to be a psychopath in that sense because Toto and his brother Bertie, who was played by Luigi Saracino, they were more like the hit squad. They were sent out. They were always sent out to do the jobs.
Okay.
To clean up, fillet somebody, clean somebody up, take them away. I mean, there's other stuff you don't see in the movie that was filmed, which is too bad because you can't showcase every single scene that you have filmed because the movie will be 4 hours long. As I was telling you in the off the show, the director's cut was 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Which I haven't seen myself, and I hope that Danielle Podz Guru is watching, and we would love to see the director's cut. I think a lot of people would like to see the director's cut.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
But it was a great story, fantastic cast. I mean, the casting done by Bruno Rossetto casting was, and Francis Quentin was top notch. I mean, they scoured they wanted authentic looks. Donny Falsetti playing Jaco Paterno, the son to the Godfather, Marc-André Grondin, Vincent Gamache, who. Wow. Great caliber actor, fantastic guy. I mean, what he brought to his character, the menace part of it, and the good boy, and like I can go on and on with people. Like there's 52 people in the cast. Everybody was phenomenal. It doesn't matter how big or how small your role was. Everybody played a significant role in that film that would made it what it is. So
you spent quite a few days on the set.
I did. I mean, I worked as a consultant on the movie. I mean, I have a Sicilian heritage background from Cattolica Erclea, and coincidentally enough, I mean that's what the dialect they were using. So I was helping the actors fine tune their enunciations of the wordings because Sicilian can be very tricky when it comes to certain words.
I know.
And Sergio Castellito. Yeah, of course, yes. Sergio Castellito coming from Rome. I mean, his Sicilian was actually very good. I mean, he lives out there, so I'm sure he brushes different dialects every day. If you're Napoletan, Barese, whatever region you come from, there's always a different dialect. So I would help him with his English. I was helping with his English and his French as well. And he's a stellar actor, top notch to work with. I mean, so easy going. If he doesn't want to say something, he goes, "No, I'm not saying this." Okay, perfect. I'm going to say this. Perfect. We'll run it by, and we'll see what comes out of it. And his suggestions were always well received. So
he's that direct, eh?
Oh no, I mean, because he's also producing the director himself.
Okay.
He's done a lot of producing directing in Italy. He's done a lot of films, so he always looks through the script. And I think my character would be like that. That's okay. We'll run it by Podz and run it by the line supervisor, and then. No problems. Everything was it worked out. Every choice that he made worked out. So he would actually give some of his lines to other actors to have them have more lines. And it's it was a very cool set to be on. Very smooth. Every day was like a family reunion. It didn't feel like work at all. It was a good time every day.
Well, I guess when the filming ended, and you were there for 22 days, as you said, when the filming ended, it must have been really, really sad. Like you said, you have like a family. Environment developing.
Yeah, it's like going on a dream vacation, then coming back, and then you down it. For a few days after, like, what am I doing today? So everybody, we would still go for coffee together, like the family. We would go for coffee, chit chat, talk about the movie, and like, when's it gonna come out? What do you think of this? What do you think of that scene? And like people would hear us talking at the coffee bars, and they're like, what the hell are these guys talking about? Remember that hit that guy? There's like. What are you talking about? Like, and it was funny. So when the movie finally came out and we would go back to these coffee bars, then people understood what we were talking about. Oh, you guys are actors. Yeah, we're actors. Yeah, it wasn't real. We were just, spitballing, just talking about the day's work and what was going on.
Well, I remember sometimes, like myself, I was on subway cars riding here in Montreal and talking to myself. I was actually going through my script and people like looking at me saying, where does this alien come from? Like, you don't understand. You're talking to yourself, right? Yeah. So you're doing like both actors at the same time. You're trying to, but I understand what you're trying to say. You have as an idol Robert De Niro that you absolutely love as an actor.
I do. Robert De Niro. I mean, when I remember first seeing him, when I was younger. I mean, if you look at you take his performance in The Godfather, stellar performance. He's very versatile. And Cape Fear, you have two different entities completely playing, the real psychopath, and then playing, the head of a mafia family. And then you have other movies that he's done, Awakenings. It's all the versatility of an actor. For me, it's intriguing. I mean, you can take something and just create a persona from that. Myself, I mean, I do vision boards. I'll take photographs of myself and I'll put it and try and like superimpose it with different sceneries, so I can see what's the background of this character. Where's he going? What does he do for a living?
Okay.
I try and create a persona in my head, so I can, when I go for the audition, I'll be that person. And that's the fun part of being an actor.
It's very complicated being an actor. The way you have to create and develop a character. It's very demanding. I mean, you must be like,
it is, because you'll get a line sheet. Okay, here we go. Kevin, ages 40 to 55. Okay, 15 years. Fun-loving guy, drinks coffee, plays bowling Wednesdays with his buddies, family man. That's it.
Okay.
Now let's create something from there. Then you get to develop something. That's the fun part, You have to play make-believe, so it's you get that chance to be a kid, a 5-year-old every time you want to, when you were 5, you used to play cops and robbers or whatever with your friends, and like now as you're 41 years old, and I still get to do that on a different level. But my kids get a kick out of it because they see me in the basement talking to myself, or I'm looking at a mirror, or I have props, and I'll go to the store and I'll buy makeup and I'll change my face just to get something different out of a character. Yeah.
Wow.
The Village of Valera, go buy clothes. What is this character going to wear? Like, how does he look? So it's great. I have a good time with that.
So it's very obvious that you have a great love for the art that you're doing. Like,
I do.
And you take it very, very seriously. Wow. I mean, when I was younger, I didn't take it as seriously as I do now. When you first get into the business, when I'll say as a kid, I mean, I was 18 years old, but I mean, yeah, I'm still a kid at 18 years old. I didn't know what to expect. All 18-year-olds are the same. I know everything. That's right. We know that now.
Now, yeah. For 30 years then, yeah, you didn't know everything. But it's great. I mean, that I've evolved from that, because when I look back on how I was when I was younger, I was like, I was stupid. I should have, really some things I should have taken a bit more seriously. Maybe I would have been to Hollywood, but maybe that wasn't my path. My path maybe was now what I'm doing now. I mean, everything happens for a reason, as they say. And,
exactly.
To be in acting, you have to constantly strike. You got to be hungry. If you're not hungry, you're going nowhere. You have to be hungry. You have to want it. You have to always be thinking of what's the next step.
You can compare that easily to a boxer. I mean, when he's stepping into the ring, he can never take his opponent lightly. He's always got to fear his opponent. You always have to have So, okay, we were talking about Robert De Niro, but there's a role that I saw Robert De Niro in, Falling Down with Michael Douglas. Remember that, when Michael Douglas was a psychopath and he was going crazy?
Oh yeah. I remember. He played. What did he play again?
He played the detective.
I don't remember the movie too much.
He played the detective.
Okay, he was the lead detective that was following him throughout the movie. Okay,
that's right. And the Tuesday Weld was Robert De Niro's wife. What a nag! I mean, she did a great job in the movie, but she was a real nag. And Robert De Niro was like, the sheep. Yes, dear. And it was unbelievable. It's a role that if you take, even like in A Bronx Tale, the movie he played in, and you take that compared to what he did in Falling Down, it's just, you just see how big a scope this guy has. Like, it's unbelievable how much versatility he has, how many roles he can play.
Yeah, and he's 70. I'm gonna say 76. I think he said maybe 77, but even he's still going at it. There's no age for it. That's what I like about this business. You could be 1 month, you could be 100. God willing, you live that long.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. If you have the passion and the drive to do it, go ahead, get it done. Enjoy yourself. You have one life to live. Why not do what you love?
Well, speaking of which, Robert De Niro, and we can easily associate him to one of the greatest movies of all times, The Godfather.
Yes.
And I guess you must have fed off well, from what I'm hearing from you, even off air, the interview we had, you've been feeding a lot off Robert De Niro from The Godfather, and you were saying that the other actors, they're also phenomenal. You like them all on The Godfather.
I do. I don't prefer one movie to the next. I find they all play significant role in the story. Like I was telling you, I would have wished it would have went to a fourth one.
Yeah.
Then you would have saw the where the Corleone family, where it takes it. Maybe they will do it one day. Maybe it's too late. I mean, the books that were written after the fact, Mario Puzo passed away. There's two more books, the Godfather Returns and the Revenge of the Godfather. And they're very. It gives more intricate details on where the family's gone. Like I was telling you, they wanted to end it off with with Vincent running down the street, being chased by the New York City police, and he gets shot down, and he's lying on the ground, and you pull up at a silhouette, and the saga has been completed. It's ended now.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to in the third one, you see Al Pacino sitting there in the chair, super old, and he dies alone.
Oh.
Him and his dog. There's always meanings in that. I mean, there is a meaning in that. Everybody he loved in his life, that was close to him, was killed off in the movie. Anybody he loved, he pushed away.
And his brother Sonny was killed in the first Godfather movie.
Yeah. So it affects him. I mean, I guess the character would affect him, and in the end, he dies alone by himself. He's got no one around him to share his last moments of life with. So it's also poetic at the same time when you look at it. It's deep. It's a deep movie. I mean, like I said, the more you watch it, you'll see always different things in the film. You'll catch something different, and that's what I find. It's a good study to look at these films. I mean, these timeless movies, and we spoke about Scarface as well.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, these are all criminal genres when you think about it. It's all has to do with organized crime and violence. I mean. It's not. I don't condone violence or organized crime. I think it's not my point. But these movies are iconic, because still today, 40 years later, 50 years later, people still refer to them. They still refer to the scenes, those iconic lines that they have. Cheers, buddy. I'm having water, but it's okay.
Hey, salud. It's okay. This is grape juice.
Wet the palate. Grape juice. Yeah. Welch's. It's good.
It is. Yeah. Welch's is a little bit of alcohol in it, but it's okay. So Al Pacino is another actor you relate to.
Yeah, another versatile actor. I mean, he's 80. He's 80 years old.
Oh my God, he's 80 years old.
And he's still, I mean, you see him in The Irishman. Yes, he did a great performance in The Irishman. I mean, the story was, for Scorsese's movie. I mean, I didn't love the film. I liked the movie. I didn't love the movie. I still prefer Goodfellas. Out of the Scorsese films, you have Casino, Goodfellas, The Irishman. But The Departed also is another good one that he did. Different venue, more into the Irish mob, and than the Italian one. But that was well done as well. Pacino is he's got a fire in him. He's 80 years old, and you see him. He'll act, and he'll still have that raspiness, that fire when he talks.
Well,
so you don't want to mess with him, and he's like, that's the way it is.
What did you think of his performance in The Devil's Advocate? Al Pacino.
Wow,
was that
very cool?
I mean, that was a devil.
Cool. I actually saw that film. I won tickets for a pre-premiere with was it Q92 or no?
Virgin.
What's the FM? Virgin, yeah. Well, before it was Virgin, it was Mix 96. Remember
that's right. Yeah.
Mix 96.
There you go.
I won tickets to go see the pre-premiere at the theater, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And Keanu Reeves, I mean, it's funny when he smiles in the mirror before when he's in that bathroom area coming out of the courtroom, you see Pacino in his face.
It's unreal,
how he smiles.
It's unreal.
It's really cool. And he's like, what should I call you? I got so many names. Call me Dad. He's great. I mean, acting is something that, I think anybody can do acting. If they put their mind to it, I can't do that. Sure you can. If you can have a conversation, you can act.
Well, it is very demanding to be an actor, because
it's demanding, but I think anybody who wants to do it, you have to be willing to put the work in. It can't be given to you. You have to be willing to, it's a study. You have to study movement. You have to study how to read people's body language.
Okay.
That's how to work off somebody when someone changes something in the script and you're not expecting it. You have to be able to react right away without making it look awkward. It doesn't always work out, but you have to be prepared that might happen, because it does happen.
Well,
and more often than people think. I mean, a word will get changed, and like we spoke about that, a word will get changed, and you ask me, well, maybe it might throw off the whole scene. Yeah, but you have to be able to counter that and play with it, and that's what improv is. I mean, you have to always know how to counterbalance the punch when it comes to you. This blah blah blah. Oh, what just happened? And your brain's going 100 miles an hour. Yes, I understand. That's good.
Well, one actor who has difficulty, he's not around anymore. The late Marlon Brando, he could not remember a script if his life depended on it. There were people with cue cards, and he was reading out.
Cue cards. Yeah, you were telling me that. I mean, I've heard that, but then it makes sense to me, because you see him in movies. He's talking, and he's always going like this. He's always looking around.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think it's depending where the person is with the cue cards. He's like,
Hey,
so that makes total sense.
Wasn't he phenomenal in The Godfather? Going back to The Godfather, he was just it was sick. It was crazy.
You cannot think of the head of a family without mentioning Marlon Brando.
Oh my God.
In any movie, just his demeanor, his look. I mean, when he's sitting at the long table, when everyone's passing out the sweet table of jewelry, and everyone's getting a piece, and he's there all in black, and he's like, I'm not a, what does he say? What's that line he gives out? I'm not a vindictive man, I know some people around this table are responsible, and he just plays it out, and everyone's just staring at. But if you look around the table, they all look like the part, but he fits the bill 100%, just A to Z. Like, they stuffed his cheeks with cotton balls to make his puff out a little bit more. But I mean, it's all part of movie magic.
Oh, so that's what he did to put cotton balls in there.
Yeah, he had cotton balls stuffed in his cheeks, and even the cats the iconic cat that he's petting was a stray cat that was on set.
No way.
He just picked it up. He just wandered on set, and he picked it up and he just started petting it. They're like,
no way.
Okay, we'll go with it. And he's like just holding the cat.
Oh wow,
and that's it.
I didn't know that. It's a stray cat that just popped up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a master of his craft. I mean, the Marlon Brando, like.
And now this cat
he came up with.
And this cat is immortalized right now. It's going to be there forever.
Yeah, the white cat.
On the black suit.
It fits on the black suit, and it just looked like, wow, like, every poster you see, that cat's in the poster. He always has that cat with him.
Wow.
If you look at if you see The Godfather, if you're sitting down, he has the cat on sitting on him.
I hope that cat had
like when you watch when you watch the outtakes and the behind the scenes, they talk about the cat, and it's like, wow, the smallest detail changes the whole look of the scene.
But you know what?
It's true. What if there was no cat in his lap? Would it still look the same?
No, you know what?
You think about it today, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have that same effect. Big tough guy. This is the most powerful man in the United States in the movie. One finger, he knows everybody. He's got everybody in his pocket, and he's there, soft, holding a little white cat at his daughter's wedding, petting it.
Wow. I guess another show you love is The Sopranos, right?
Yes.
Yes. Are you like me? Are you disappointed with how The Sopranos ended?
No,
you like the
ending? I did think like everybody else that my TV broke or I lost cable.
Okay.
I freaked out. I remember watching it. It's like, what happened?
Oh,
what? The lights are still on. What's going on? Did we lose cable? What's happening? It was pretty funny. But David Chase, the way he wrote it, I mean, it keeps you guessing what did happen. Did he get shot? That's why Tony's life, it went out in front of everybody's eyes. Did it just go to black? Because, just because it keeps people guessing what happened. And now the Many Saints of Newark they're coming out, with the prequel. And sadly, James Gandolfini's no longer with us, but his son is playing him in the movie, which is quite surreal when you think about it, and it's an honor. I mean, you're playing your dad's role, and he looks a lot like his father, and it's uncanny, and it seems like it's going to be a good movie. I think it's going to be one to watch.
It definitely is. It's gonna. I'm sure. Like you said, he does have an uncanny resemblance. Yeah, and it should work out well. Domenic, you got your first break in 1980 98 at the age of 19, and you scored a role on Big Wolf on Campus on YTV, and that lasted 3 seasons.
Yep. 3 seasons. Yeah.
Okay.
That was quite. I mean, the original role I went for that one was for Dean Dawkins, which was the brother to Tommy Dawkins, played by Brandon Quinn, the Wolf.
Okay.
He always sat in the chair. He was a couch potato, watched TV all the time. So that's the audition I went in for. I'll never forget it at Elite Casting, and I went in. I did my thing, and that day I'll never forget it because it was super hot. I had to walk 6 blocks. I got there totally drenched. Thank God I had a towel with me in my bag. Wiped myself down. Went into the room. Did the audition. Did it once. Did it twice. Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming. That's it. Okay, out. Nothing. A month goes by. Okay, didn't get it. No problem. And I was swimming in my pool at my parents' pool at their house at the time. And then my dad goes, "Hey, the phone's for you." I'm like, "Who is it?" He goes, "It's some producer guy."
What?
I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay." So I run up the stairs and I'll go into the house, get the phone, and on the phone was Rich Eustace. And Rich Eustace was the creator. Remember the show Head of the Class?
Yeah, I remember that show.
Yeah,
that was on YTV too, right?
Head of the Class? No, that was in the ABC. This was in the 80s. He created that show.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like, "Hi, my name is Rich Eustace. I'm he's like one of the executive producers for Big Wolf on Campus." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." He's like, "You audition for a role?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I was wondering if you had a few minutes to come by the office so we can sit down and talk." He goes, "I just want to have a meeting." And I was like, "Okay." So thankfully it wasn't far from my house. It was just off the 40, maybe a 25-minute drive. So I got washed up right away, out the door. I showed up. "Hi, I'm here to see Rich Eustace, Domenic Di Rosa." And they're like, "Oh, it won't be long, sir. Have a seat." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Sir." I'm like, "Wow." "Yeah, sir. 19. What?" So he calls me in his office. We walk down. He goes, "You want anything to drink?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine, thank you." And we just chatted. We just had a chit chat, and we talked about movies. And he's like, "Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what comes out of this."
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day." I went home. "Okay, what was that about?" No idea. I called my agent. He's like, "No, it's good. It's good. It's good. You'll see." I'm like, "Okay, well, all right. We'll see." So then another 4 weeks goes by. I was working at doing maintenance in buildings, helping out this and that, just odd jobs. And my cell phone rang. Remember those old phones? Hello, and then was my agent. He's like, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "Good, yourself?" And he's like, "I got good news for you." I said, "What is it?" He goes, "You got the role." I'm like, "Which role? What do you mean? What are you talking about?" He goes, "You got the role on Big Wolf on Campus." I said, "Oh, the brother." He goes, "No." He goes, "They got the role of Tim Eckert." I'm like, "Who's that?" He goes, and he explained what the part was. He goes, "Yeah, you're starting filming in 2 weeks, and yeah, you'll be filming for the next 6 months." Oh, okay. So I hung up the phone. I went to see my boss. I quit.
No way. Oh,
I went straight home. I quit and I went straight home. And he was like, "Okay, sure, take care." Like he was like all confused. And that was the beginning of a journey, a really fantastic journey. That's
and it's
when I look back on all the different roles.
It's a journey that lasted 3 seasons, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it was. The first season we did the first season, and then it came out and it was number 1 in its time slot. So I got signed to greenlit for a second season.
Wow!
And then we did the second season, and then it was a really long lag between the second and third season. I mean, we filmed 1998, then we filmed in 1999, and then we didn't film until 2001.
Oh,
so it was like a year and a half between the second and third season.
What happened?
Well, they weren't sure for the funding, because it became more of a Canadian production, because it originally was a joint Canadian-American production.
Okay.
So from what I was told, the funding wasn't there at 100%, so they were waiting to see which actors they wanted to come back. And then, unfortunately, the gentleman, Rob DeLeo, was playing my brother. I mean, he had other opportunities to attend to, so he could not do the third season. So is my character still going to be included in that or not? And I wasn't sure. And finally, yes, but I ended up doing 10 episodes in the end on the third season. And history for that was done. I mean, that was my first true experience in the acting world. It was my schooling. I mean, I learned a lot of tricks and a lot of how to look on camera, where to be. And like I was telling you, I could never hit my mark in the beginning. And Zoe, the camera operator, told me, like, you're looking at the floor. And I was like, I am. She goes, yeah, don't look at the floor. It's no good. You can see it. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? So she told me, she goes, take steps. She goes, count your steps to your mark. And then, when we say action, you count your steps and you'll land in your mark every time. And she was 100% right. So I took that trick to heart, and, I never looked back from there.
I can imagine myself taking 10 steps. By the time I take my 10th step, okay, I forgot the lines. I'm counting out the So you're saying
it's like you said, it's a big job. It's a big job learning everything, retaining all the information, knowing your cues, your marks, when to speak, when not to speak, how to react. I mean, you really have to do your homework. It's not partying or anything like that. It's a lot of work. You got to study that script 100% every time.
And the director, he absolutely counts on you because he expects you to be ready. You can't be on a set. You know what? I'm not good with this. I'll see you tomorrow. It doesn't work that way.
A director has no time to waste. I mean, time is money in this business, right? So if you're not doing your job, he'll tell you to leave.
Oh,
go. Oh yeah, they could tell you, listen, don't waste my time. We're moving along. Just go home.
So
if you're told that by a director, it could be that if it gets to that point, usually it doesn't. But if it can really get to that point, some people can really not take it seriously and they can be sent home.
Oh wow!
I mean, I've seen background workers. I don't like calling them extras because they're background performers. Without background performers, there's no show or there's no movie. You need people constantly.
Yeah, yes.
Everybody, like I told you, everybody from the biggest role to the smallest, doesn't matter if it's a silent role. Everybody plays a significant role in the production. And I've seen background performers be sent home because they were just screwing around on set. They weren't taking it seriously, and you have to. I mean, it is long hours. I've done it myself. I mean, of course, I've done extra work. I've done background work, and it's long hours. I mean, you could be there for all day, and sometimes lunch is provided, sometimes it isn't.
Well,
so it could be very tedious and very trying on you.
You could be there all day, and you didn't film that day because I don't know, maybe something went wrong in the production. It was a delay, whatever, and you didn't do anything that day. You have to go back to the next day.
Exactly. And okay. I mean, for me, a friend of mine, Randy Thomas, is also a very, very talented actor. He always says on whenever he does a little clip on Instagram or Facebook, every day on set's a good day. And he's 150% right. Every day on set is a good day. You should be blessed and thankful to anybody who's on a set and wants to be in that profession that they're working, because it is like I always say, it's a cutthroat business, and a lot of actors are not working. And when you're working, be thankful that you're working, because you're getting a chance to do your passion. You get a chance to perform instead of just, being home, being, oh, I wish I was doing that. Oh man, I should have got that. Those who want it will work for it, And I count myself fortunate every day. I have a very good team behind me. I have a great manager and agent. My wife always gives me 150%. My kids push me. God, you can do it. Go. I have 4 children, so I mean, I have a lot of mouths to feed, so I got to work.
Yeah,
so they always encourage me to be on the ball whenever I have something to do. They always, give me my space to operate in that sense, to do my thing, and I'm very thankful for that every day.
You said in our pre-interview that you were considering directing one day. How far away do you think you are from that? I think I could do it, but I don't think it's the right time for it now. I like being in front of the camera. I like performing still. I still think I have a lot more to offer, to show in my craft to different directors and different producers for any project they throw at me. And I think now, being 41 years old, I'm just starting to hit my stride. I've been very fortunate with very good projects lately. I have another one coming up that I'll be starting to film next month. I can't talk about it yet, but when it's time, I'll let you know. If you want me back on your show, I'll be glad to come back on the show, and we can have another discussion about film anytime you want, Robert. I would love to have you on the show.
I find this fun. I've only done a few podcasts, video podcasts, but it's a great way to encourage the community around us, because Montreal is a very, very good community when it comes to the arts. We're very talented people in Montreal, and I like to showcase that. There's a lot of talent to offer in all venues.
And you also like writing some
I do,
scripts.
yeah. I find it's very what's the therapeutic as well. I mean, because you have ideas, everyone has ideas. So if you have something, the always the best thing to do, or if you dream of something, the best thing to do is get up, jot it down, or else you're gonna forget it, and then you can always go back to it. Like I was telling you, I'm writing. There's one script I've been writing. The script is called Green.
Okay.
Because I don't know what else to call it right now. Just call it Green. You know. I've been writing it for a few years. I actually started writing in 2017. I haven't touched it in 2 years.
Oh wow!
So I'm stuck at a certain page, so I'll stop. Instead of thinking about it and breaking a blood vessel and whatever, I'll move on to something else. I'll start writing something else. So I started writing another movie, and now I haven't touched it in 2 months. I stopped. So it's like I always have to think, okay, what's the next move? But it's nice to have the different projects on the back burners. Because whenever, what am I going to do now? Like now with like we've been home since COVID. A lot of people are under quarantine.
Yeah.
What is there to do? I mean, to keep on top of your craft. And like I told you, before, I go over old tapes that I've done, auditions that I've done. Sometimes I recreate the same audition just for myself and see what can I do? How can I change it? Because it's like, even if you didn't get the role, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you weren't good. They saw you. If you went into that room, you have something to offer them. It doesn't matter if you didn't get it, because they might say, okay, well, if that person did a good job, he or she, phenomenal, but this one wasn't right for them. But I have another project coming up down the line. I'll bring them back in the room. If they keep bringing you back in the room, that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
I can second you on that because I had a little role in The Walk, and I remember I went into audition. I was supposed to be a policeman. And next thing you know, I was taking some time, and my agent had told me, well, you know what? It's not because they don't want you. They're stuck trying to figure out where they want to have you. I was considered for 3 roles, but they were all small roles. So sometimes you go in for one thing and you are taken for something else, like you just said.
Exactly. And there's no small roles, Robert. There's no small roles. I mean, a lot of movies that I've done, there are actor roles or supporting roles. They're not long, 2 or 3 days, but it's the experience you gain from the time you're on set, the contacts you make, the relationships you make with those people, the mutual respect. If they know you're a good worker, you're respectful on set, this person's not difficult. He's not a prima donna. He's not or she or whoever. It doesn't matter. They don't give you a hard time on set. That's very welcoming. They have talent, and they're nice on set. You have to treat everybody on the same level. Like I said, it's the best way to do it. You treat people how you want to be treated. If you want to be treated well, you treat people well. If you're going to go on there being a tyrant, you want to develop a reputation of being having an attitude on set, then that's your prerogative. I don't condone that. I don't think people should do that. I have never seen it myself, like people freaking out on set. I mean, I've been very fortunate. I've had nice sets. I've never been on a bad set.
Okay.
To be quite honest with you, I've always been on good sets.
So I'm going to scratch off that question because that was one of my questions.
I saw that. Well, I never really had a worse experience.
Okay.
Long hours, yes, but worst experience, I never had a bad experience.
Hey, by the way, Patty Saragosa is my co-host on the Friday Night Lives, and she's tuned in, and she's like really participating here. And she goes, Patty. Yeah, good idea, writing down inspiration and ideas in the middle of the night. Hey, how much sleep have I left myself with that? So he says every role is important.
Could you imagine? You get up for that glass of water. Blue cheese. My God, I didn't know that.
The slightest thing sometimes, eh?
The slightest thing. And my wife tells us this. She goes, "You talk in your sleep." I'm like, "What did I say?" She's like, "Why?" I said, "Because it might be something important. I might have to write it down."
You better write it down right away, or record yourself. Have a recorder. It's going to be easier.
Yeah. Like for the project that's coming up, I mean, I've been doing a lot of for my character. I've done a lot of extensive research on it. Now that at the beginning, my wife was a bit like, "Okay, it's enough." Like watching a lot of things, but I mean, I'll watch documentaries, mannerisms. I'll study movies. I mean, anything that a director does or a production company does, I try to watch what they've done in the past to see what kind of vision they have. You can't watch everything because not everything is available, but I mean, everything is almost pretty much available with all these different platforms that we have going on today, you know. So it's like I try to study what the director's done, see how they shoot, what their style is, you know. So that way, if you do end up getting the role, or you know what to expect in a sense. So
Exactly.
I think that's also very important. It's a key thing to do as an actor, you know.
You and I have something in common. I see over here. We were on the same show, not exactly the same episode, but Fatal Vows and A Stranger in the House. You played in those two shows as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Which episode did you do?
Well, I believe in Fatal Vows, or was it Strange? I confuse them all the time.
Okay.
It was my mother-in-law. I killed my mother-in-law.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like it goes back a long time. It's like one of these reenactment shows, you know, like
yeah.
So yeah, you were in the same shows that I was on over here, and that's pretty cool. You know, I look at that, and that's pretty awesome. You know, other shows that deserves to mention here. You're Barkskins. You're on Barkskins.
Barkskins, yes, that was a big one. I mean, National Geographic, Walt Disney was behind the production of Barkskins. We filmed that last year. From the month I started in the month of July, and the production went on until beginning of November. They finished. I think it was around November 5th. Based on the book by Annie Proulx about the early settlers from New France coming over, and also the beginning of deforestation here in Canada. So I mean, you had the Iroquois Indians, the Wendats, you know, the Jesuit priests that came over. I was playing a Jesuit priest in this one, the Les Filles du Roi. You know, the women sent by the king to you know, the godmothers of what we see today. You know, they chose their husbands and they started their lives. I mean, they built an entire villages, actually multiple ones, in the middle of the woods in Quebec City. Elwood Reed, the creative mind behind it, you know, took the novel and based the first season on the first 150 pages. And the brilliance of all that was it shows a piece of history in Canada, and the attention to detail that they did on top of that, down to, I mean, the dirty fingernails. I mean, everything was insanely done, and the casting that they used, I mean, phenomenal. You had you know, Marcia Gay Harden was in it, and David Thewlis, and then you have Christian Cook. I mean, Thomas M. Wright. The list goes on. So many great actors coming together, and all down to earth people. We would sit on set and just chat, because, you know, there was no cell phone service. There was none of that. So it was great. It was like being old school. There was no one's like this. You know? I can imagine. Talk to each other, and it was great. So I mean, it's premiered already in the States. It premiered on the 25th of May, Memorial Weekend. Okay. And it seemed to be a big hit. I was very fortunate to be in 6 episodes out of the 8 for the first season. Wow. I mean, even though my role as Father Gabriel, it wasn't probably was a secondary role, but I mean, as a supporting role, I didn't talk much. When I spoke very in increments, but everything was eye movements and gestures and looks, and like always checking out what's going on. Very, very difficult. For me, it was very challenging not to do anything, being silent.
Okay.
But it shows you a different venue in acting. I mean, playing silent is harder than talking. I just found it, like, you know, you're in a scene and there's dialogue going on and people ask you questions. You're like, you can't say nothing because you're not supposed to. And it's like someone's always cutting you off and they're doing their line, and you're, okay, sorry, no, you being the you know, I'm sorry, no, very. So I mean, to prepare for that role, I mean, I watched other movies. There was a movie I watched, Black Robe, also with Jesuit priests around that same time, that was done in the early 90s. Name of the Rose, anything that had to do with, like, you know, priests, I would have to study it just to see how the actions were, how were they moving. So it was I'm very happy. So Barkskins, yeah, it's going to be here in Canada. It should be coming in here in the fall.
Okay,
that's from what I was told. So Canada can see it. So it's doing pretty well though so far. So
by the way, Claudio Silvio Capri has just tuned in and he says, "Hey," so I guess that's a hello to you, Domenic.
Yes, Claudio.
Yeah, folks, for you, those of you who have just tuned in, my guest tonight is And I thank you very much again, Domenic, for taking the time to coming on my show.
You're welcome.
Domenic Di Rosa from Mafia Inc. He played the Boucher in Mafia Inc.
The Butcher, Toto
The
Russo,
Butcher.
yes.
Okay, and Domenic, we're having a good time over here. We're going through Dominic's career a little bit. And while we're going through your career, tell me about Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, that was, you know what? That was my, I didn't know what the show was at first. I'd seen like clips. My sister was a big fan of the show. Well, she still is a big fan of the show. And when I told you I got an audition for Letterkenny, she was, "Are you serious? You got an audition for Letterkenny? Oh my God." I'm like, what is it? So I saw one episode and I was like, wow, this is funny. I mean, it's homegrown Canadian comedy that started off as a 2-minute clips on YouTube, and it became international. I mean, these guys really worked hard. You know, Nathan Dales and Jared Keeso, like, you know, behind it with Mark Montefiore with Bell Media. Mark Montefiore, who called it? Let's forget. New Metric Media. Sorry, Mark. New Metric Media. They created something very special for Canada, because it is a funny comedy, very uniquely done. And when I got the audition for that, I was like, okay, you're playing the doppelganger, the French version of Squirrely Dan. And I knew of Keith Trevor Wilson as a stand-up comedian. I never seen him as an actor. So when they sent me a picture of him, I mean, we have very similar features. We look alike. You know, I grew my beard a lot longer than what it is now.
Okay.
So I did my audition on tape, sent it in. A week later, they called me. They're like, "You got the role." And this was my first role back from, like, out of retirement, we'll say, when I just got back into the business. So I landed that role, and I was like, great. So they flew me out to Sudbury, where the show is being filmed. Dead of winter, freezing. But you know what? I had a smile on my face every single moment. It was such an experience. I was gone for 5 days to film, and I came back, and I was walking on cloud 9. And I've done 3 episodes already, three different seasons.
Okay.
1 episode each season. And I don't know if my characters will come back, but we'll see, because I'm not alone. We're three Quebecers. Well, actually, we're 4. There's Nick, Jean-Pierre, Jean-Carl, and Jean-Guy. We're all Jean-Jean. And that was a running gag in the show. Like, is everyone in Quebec first name Jean? Like, yeah, pretty much. And you know, working with that cast out there, they're such a great bunch of people. You know, and like I said, like I have not had a bad experience on set. They are top notch. They welcome you with open arms. You know, they make sure that you have anything you need, and no one feels secondary at all. Everyone feels, like I said, on the same level, and it's fantastic to work with that.
Wow.
You know.
Okay. I have here Obstruction of Justice. Is that your first film?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going.
I know. I see it here. I could not remember when I did Claudio's show. I could not remember the title for the life of me.
I say
I'm going to apologize. I'm going to apologize to Kevin Woodhouse, because he was my teacher in high school. For my drama teacher, really got me my fire stoked. You know what I mean? Getting into the films. He gave me an opportunity to be on his movie set. Okay. He was in that movie, Obstruction of Justice, and he's like, "Oh, you can play." I was also a cop. Like, you know, you see me like maybe a second in the movie. I didn't care. I was 16 at the time. I didn't care. You know, this was awesome. And you're on set, and like, it was 3:00 in the morning. My dad was like, "Hey, bud, we got to go home. You have school tomorrow." I'm like, "So? Oh no, I'm not going nowhere." So I had to go ask the director, "Can I leave? I got to go to school tomorrow." And he's like, yeah, man." He goes, "Yeah, go ahead. Thanks for coming out." And I was like, cool, no problem. And it was just, from that point on, I told my father in the car ride home, I said, "Dad, this is what I want to do in my life. I want to be an actor." He goes, "Listen," he goes, "as long as you do school, you do something, get a degree in something," he goes, "you do what you want. You always have a fallback," you know. And he was, you know, my father always encouraged me to strive for my goals, to always go for that golden ring that would give me what I want to do in life, you know. And he was always behind me 100%. Sadly, he passed away in 1999. 2009. Sorry. He passed away. No, it's all right. But since I know he's always looking down on me, and like every time I get a role, I know he's smiling, so I go visit him, you know, and I tell him thank you, because if he didn't encourage me back then, you know, who knows what I'd be doing today, you know. So it's always good to remember where you come from, remember how you get there.
Have you ever considered doing some theater? Is that something
I've done a bit of theater in the past. Yeah, I've done a bit of theater in the past. I like theater. I think it's very a good tool for all actors to learn how to enunciate your voice and projection, because it's not like movies. It's not quiet.
No,
and it's live. You have no second take, no cut, do it again. No, you make a mistake, you hit the ground running and you continue going, And there's never just don't exit stage left, just continue going. Because maybe one day, not now, but maybe one day, we'll see.
Maybe one day, okay. I know someone who's going through that transition right now, and she's tuned in. It's Patty again. Patty's got a background in theater, and she did theater, I think, 30 years or so. And now she's come on to the acting world, so it's much, much different, Sure. So she's doing very well. My God, the adaptation is phenomenal, but there's that adaptation period. Vivre pas, as we say in French. It takes a while. Yeah,
it does. I mean, the transition. But once the transition is done, when you can be versatile and doing both ends of the rope, you could be on stage live. I remember when I did Letterkenny, they did a live show. They're like, okay, you were invited. I did 2 shows for them, one in Montreal, one in Sherbrooke.
Oh, okay.
And I remember my heart coming out of my chest. I haven't done live theater in 20 years. I was so nervous. But the second you walk out and you see the lights, the nervousness just goes away. It's second nature kicks in because you've been trained to handle that. But it's that moment before you go out. It's like, okay, I need water. Give me a towel. I have to sit down. But it was such a great experience. But maybe one day. But right now, I'm really focused on doing TV and film. But theater will always be and any actor, theater is always a passion for sure.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful form to watch. I love going to Broadway. I love watching the shows. It's I don't know how they put these together. It's just great. I watch them in awe every time. Like, this was fantastic. Well, I watched Hamilton recently. I couldn't see it. I watched on Disney+. Have you seen Hamilton?
I have not seen Hamilton. I haven't had a chance. Dominic, you know what?
Phenomenal.
I don't have a chance to do anything. I am so busy. I got my podcast. I got my live on Fridays. Sundays, I'm filming with Patty all the time. I don't have... but you know what? What's it called? I'm going to write it down when I have a chance. I'm going to check it out. What's
Hamilton.
It called? Hamilton.
Very good. It's very, very well done. Yeah.
Okay, Hamilton.
It's on Disney+. If you have Disney+, or someone has it, it's on Disney+.
Okay, that's something we're going to look into. Okay. Let's see. I wanted to ask you over here. Have you ever considered stand-up comedy? Because I know actors, they make the jump back and forth. Is that something that you may have considered?
Why am I funny to you or
no?
Honestly, I told Claudia I have considered it, but my hat's off to these guys to stand up and develop skits or material and go out there and you have no idea how the crowd is going to react. I've gone to the Comedy Nest and some comedians come out and it's crickets. And they just continue going. They just continue. Something you get a few laughs, but the majority of the set is just bombed. And my hat's off to them because they keep coming back. They keep coming back.
Yeah, because
it's crazy. Like, I don't know. It seems cool to do, but I don't think. I don't know. I'll never say no, but I'll say I don't know for now.
Well, a lot of them. Well, I've had a few of them on my podcast, and I've had a couple on the live with Patty on Friday nights, and the guys tell me that they bomb and they bomb and they bomb, but some nights they're going to do one number and the same number the following night is going to be like a standing ovation. So it's hard to gauge sometimes, well,
that's the nature of the beast. It depends on the crowd you have, and you might catch a good, like you say, you might catch a good crowd one night and you scored, you roared, everyone roared, laughed, and you go home and you're feeling 100,000%. And you do the same thing the next night. And like, okay, yeah.
It's like, is my career over here? Is it me? I guess you ask yourself, is it me? Is the problem? Jeez. Okay, so listen. How important? Because there's a lot of aspiring actors out there. How important is it to have an agent to represent you?
This is my personal view. My personal view is I think it's very important because there's a lot of legalities when it comes to acting. I mean, not every actor is going to know how to negotiate their contract or what per diem is, or I mean, they don't per diem is, but how much it should be, or extras for wardrobe, or I mean, the agent's job. I mean, besides finding you auditions, is making sure that your contract is aligned. I mean, if they might ask you for like you want anything specific, you could say, listen, I have allergies to peaches, which I do. I can't have anything near me that's peach related, and they'll write that down. You know, I like to have a private dressing room because I have issues. I like to be on my own space where I don't like to be around people. So they'll ask for it. Doesn't mean you'll get it. I mean, there's always a nice to have, but I think it's very important because they're there to protect your interests. Yes, you're paying them, you're giving them 15% of your salary, but I mean, for me, listen, they do a lot of the work. The actor gets the work, but to secure your contract and make sure that everything is aligned, like I said, that's the agent's job. And I am very fortunate. I have a fantastic agent. She's like an angel on my shoulder. She always looks out for my best interest, as she does all her clients. But she's really good at what she does, and I'm very thankful to be part of her agency.
Okay, and what advice do you have for actors? I mean, in the sense of you keep going through auditions, you don't get the audition, you're working hard, it's not paying off. What advice do you have?
Well, I mean, the most easiest thing to say for me, I always tell people is, it's not a race, it's a marathon. Okay, you have to be patient. I always expect 99% rejection for every audition I do. It's that 1% that counts. That 1%, that one phone call you get saying you got the role, you'll feel like you beat out, and you could have just beat out one person. You don't know. You could have beat out half the country. But the fact that they called you to say you got that role, you did your work, and like I said, just because they called you in the audition room, it doesn't mean they called you in, so they must like what you do. So every time they call in, so patience is the virtue in this business. You always have to stay hungry. Keep trying, keep pushing. If you're going to give up, I mean, that's your prerogative. You give up. But I've done, I think I can count, over the years, over 20 years, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 auditions.
Wow.
It's possible. I mean, if I count every single one, the self-tapes, this, that, whatever, and doesn't mean like a big judge. I mean, none of them might be a bit inflated, but I'm just giving more of a general example. I mean, it could be 1 million auditions, but if you landed 1% of your 1 million auditions, what is it? It's a lot of work. So if you get 1% of what you put out, you get what you put out. If you're going to put in the work, you'll get results. If you're not going to put in the work, the business is not for you. Because it is a very hard business to be in.
Okay. Do you encourage people to go out there and make their own movies? And first of all, it's very, very important that this business over here is that one thing you got to have is the love for the business. If you're just doing this for the money, you just like better turn away. And I guess you agree with me.
I do. If film is I'm gonna be an actor, I'm gonna be rich. Stay home. Don't bother. Don't. You cannot think that way. You have to do it because if you work hard, you'll make money. Eventually you will get to that point. I mean, I'm not at that point where I can say, yeah, I'm banking on, I still have to work. Yeah, I'll never say I made it. I'm working. For me, if I'm working, I'm doing my job. It's great. To encourage people to do their own films, of course I do. It's always, you have to, creativity has to flow. If you have an idea to do something, because you have, like I said, you have union and non-union work. I mean, it depends. I mean, if you could do a union production, but you have to pay everybody union rates. If you don't have that kind of budget, you do non-union work. But I mean, you could do a movie and say, okay, here's what I did with no budget. Now you could take that movie, put into festivals, get buzz going. Maybe somebody will pick it up, saying, we want to develop this movie or develop this series. And you never know. You won't know unless you try.
Okay.
So, I do encourage it for sure.
So you're encouraging people. There's short movies that they do to
send them out. Of course, I've seen some really a lot of quality stuff. Like the stories were really top notch. I mean, and this is I wouldn't say amateur because it's not amateur. Even people who've never done it before in their life, they make short films, and it's like, wow, that's something cool.
So, Dominic, I must be hearing you talking in your sleep because I've submitted one of my movies to 3 festivals. One of them is in New
You
York.
got it, Robert. You have to. You have to. You don't know unless you try. You can't say, "Well, it's not good enough." Put it in anyways. Doesn't matter. The worst they can say is, "I don't like it," but at least you got that they viewed it. Somebody looked at it. So you got to keep. You got to keep going, constantly, always trying.
Dominic, you have been such a sweetheart. Thank you very much. The time is up, unfortunately, but I do invite you to stay tuned. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to thank the audience, and I'm going to come right back to you, buddy. Okay, so stay right there. I'll be right with you in a second.
Much. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Okay, I'll be right back with you. Stay there. Okay, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you very much for tuning in to Rob's Inner Circle tonight. Our guest was Domenic Di Rosa from Mafia Inc. And of course, he did a lot of other productions. Guys, I invite you to come onto the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel. Go and watch our videos. Give us a thumbs. You want to give us some comments. Share our videos, and the family will grow. Guys, thank you again for joining us. I wish you a fantastic week. Be careful out there and keep tuning in to Bobby Short Shorts. Good night, everybody.